Hi, I'm Johan Fransen, 57 years old. I'm married, have 2 children, and I'm living in Overpelt, Belgium. The reason why I take this interview is because between the years 1980 and 1996 I spent about 10 years abroad working for Alcatel-Lucent. The first 2 years I spent in South Korea, then I did 2 years Mexico, 2 years China, about 1 year in Australia, and several other projects. So in total there were about 10 years I worked as an expat. It was never my intention to become an expat. It all happened very sudden. During my last few months in school, I studied electronics. I saw an advertisement in the newspaper from Bell Telephone at that time, asking for people who wanted to go to work in South Korea. And I applied for the job, and I got the job, and I was sent away, and that's how it started. Working there in Korea was not that difficult. Why? Because you never had worries. We got a home in the beginning, a hotel. After a few months we get our own apartment. Everything was paid, water, electricity, heating. You always get an allowance for your living there, to pay your expenses. So it was a very relaxed way of working. There were no worries. Beside your work, beside your job, there were no worries. And that's one of the big advantages of being an expat like I was, the way I was. So there were no worries. You only had to concentrate and be occupied with your job. Beside the job in Korea, there was another big advantage, because there was a quite vivid and lively nightlife. Why? Because there was a big community of American soldiers there. Like it still is now, there is a conflict between North and South Korea. I was in South Korea, and South Korea was protected by the Americans. So in Seoul there was a big community of American soldiers, American families. So there were a lot of bars, places to go, sports clubs, things to do, cinemas. So it was really living living in a Western world, but in an Asian country. Being 2 years away from home, for me it was not difficult. I don't know why. It's the kind of people, the kind of person I am, I suppose. But I never was homesick. I'm not a big writer, so here at home they did not receive much news from me. There was no internet, no Skyping, nothing. Once in a while a telephone call, which was very expensive, so it happened a lot. Besides of that, you were living your life there. And I had not much need to make contact even with my family. At one point they came to visit me, my brother, my sister, her husband, and after that they were very satisfied or very at ease here in Belgium, because they knew I was doing well there. Korea at the time was a developing country. Now it's much different. It's as modern and as maybe wealthier than Belgium is at this moment. But one of the things I remember very well is that the president of Korea at that time said, from now or within 20 years, everybody in the whole world will speak Korean. Of course, he was wrong in what about the language, but I think what he meant was that in 20 years' time, whole world would know Korea, and that's what happens. Look at us now. We buying Samsung products, we buying Hyundai's. Everywhere in Belgium, in every Belgian family, you find a Korean product at this time. So he was a kind of visionary, and he was right. Korea did well. The Korean food, very special, very different. What a new world opened for me, and it's really not an easy kitchen, not something that you will see a lot or you will easily start to taste. It was an experience.
On my way